Welcome to another episode of Software Explorations Concepts and Overviews, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where, above everything else, we are engineered to win. In today's episode, we're going to be doing part 2 of our QA metrics presentation. If you did not see part 1, definitely you want to watch that after you watch this one. But it all flows together, and we are going to be talking about why QA metrics are so important to have a strong and healthy QA organization. It involves a lot of data analytics and all of that good stuff. Before we get into the presentation, if you haven't done so already, do me a big favor, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live, and go over to www.techcoachralph.dev so that you can sign up for the Patreon, get access to exclusive information, topics, live streams, and you can also get one-on-one coaching with me where we can work one-on-one together to help you level up. But with that being said, let's jump into our QA metrics project. With that being said, let's jump into our QA metrics presentation. All right, so we are on part 2 of our QA metrics, having great, stellar quality data for ultimate success. Let's get started. So last week, we already covered the importance of QA, importance of QA metrics, the key metrics for QA, and defining relevant metrics. And then we started on data collection methods. Today, we're going to be looking into data analysis techniques, visualization of the metrics, reporting and communication, continuous improvement, challenges and solutions to QA metrics, and then some case studies and examples. And then we're going to wrap it up with our conclusion. All right. So let's go along for this ride. All right, so what are some data collection sources? So where do we get all of our QA metrics from? So we have defect tracking systems. There's like a plethora of them out there. It can be Jira, it can be tools like Inflectra, whatever the case may be, in order to track your defects. We have the test management tools. One that I used was called Spyro, but Jira can do it as well. There's some third parties. What was the name of that one that we used for our portfolio project? I can't remember. But we had a video. There's a video on the channel where we install a Kiwi. It's called Kiwi Test Case Management System. So definitely want to try that out. There's CI/CD tools, continuous integration, continuous deployment tools, code quality and statistic analysis, version control tools like GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, things like that. Project management tools. There's Asana. There's Jira. Jira's like in all of these, right? There's Jira. There's there's Linear, there's Trello, so many different ones. Customer support and feedback. What our customers are letting us know about the product. Monitoring and logging tools. We have like Grafana, we have Splunk, we have Sumo Logic, so many different ones, Kibana. And then there's automated testing tools. So we have tools such as Playwright, Cypress, what's the Selenium, of course, so many different tools out there. Application performance management tools and surveys and feedback mechanisms. So, if you've ever seen the little surveys on a website that says, hey, what do you think about this? How do you rate this from 1 to 10? All of that stuff. So all of these different sources of data it contributes to our QA metrics so that we can make the right decisions when we're looking for quality and how our product is working with our clients. So what are some data analysis techniques? So we have 3 main ones, right? There's descriptive, summarizing and describing the main features of the collected data. So pretty much the data that you already have, what story does that tell? What does it do? Things like that. Predictive, which it involves using statistical techniques and machine learning algorithms to forecast future trends, outcomes, and potential issues based on historical data. So pretty much it takes the data that we use for the descriptive, and it uses that to predict the future based on when something might happen, trends and seasonal topics and things like that, and how we can predict the future so that we can make wise decisions coming up. And then I'll give you a quick example of that. Just this week, we're working on preparing for an upcoming season of ours. And we are looking at the data from last season on how things were and how well our systems are configured or how well they were configured and how we can adjust for what we expect to happen this upcoming season. We also use that for load testing and things like that so that we can anticipate what type of traffic we're going to get, and we can optimize our systems to meet the expected traffic that's going to be upcoming, right? Then lastly, we have prescriptive, involves not only predicting future outcomes, but also providing recommendations on actions to take in order to achieve desired outcomes or mitigate risk, which is just what I just explained, right? So based on the predictive data, we're going to take prescriptive actions so that we can prevent possible issues, and we can be strong and ready to go for whatever is to come. Right. So let's get into visualization of QA metrics. This is going to be involving bars and graphs and scatter plots and all that good stuff. The stuff that Mitch loves, right? The stuff that Mitch loves. I am not the biggest fan of those things, but they are very, very essential. So how do we visualize these metrics, right? So there's going to be bar charts or bar graphs, line charts, pie charts, heat maps, scatter plots, histograms, box plots, control charts. And let's just talk about what each of them are, right? So and how can you, not what they are, but how can you use them? So bar charts and bar graphs. So you can use that for defect counts by severity, test case execution status. So you can have a bar graph where it says, all right, there's one that you can have where it says, okay, for the high priority or the high severity, you have a bar for that one. For the medium, for the low, you have that. Or you can have like tests that were ran, that were not ran, and that tests that passed, that weren't ran, and that failed, and that could be another bar graph, right? You have line graphs, which could be defect trends over time, test coverage trends, pie charts, defect distribution by category, test execution status. So you have a pie chart that says like we just said for the first one, not executed, passed, and failed. And then you can also have like what type of defect is this? Another type of pie chart. Heat maps, defect density, test coverage, so where the defects are heavy and what type of test coverage do we have. Scatter plots, defect density versus code complexity. So do we have a lot of defects in the most complex part of the code? Text execution time versus defect count. So how long do the tests take to execute and how many defects do we get? Histograms, for the histograms, you have defect count distribution, test execution time distribution, box plots, defect resolution time, test execution time. And I see there's a typo in there, but bear with me. Sorry about that. And control charts defect, for control charts, defect arrival time, test case failure rate. All right. So those are some different types of charts that you can use to visualize your QA metrics. So what tools can we use for visualization? All right. So let's say we have Jira. I mentioned Jira all the time, right? Jira is by Atlassian. It is a project management tool, but it also manages test cases and all types of things, right? But provides various visualizations like bar charts, pie charts, and line charts for tracking defects, test cases, and project progress. There's Tableau, very, very popular in data analytics. Allows the creation of interactive and customizable dashboards with a wide range of visualization options. And then there's Power BI, another super powerful tool, offers robust data integration capabilities and various visualization types for creating detailed QA metric reports. Then we move on to Grafana, which we have used here in one of our cybersecurity explorations, installing Grafana, trying to connect a application to it. But Grafana, excellent for real-time monitoring and visualization of QA metrics, especially when integrated with data sources like Prometheus. I think we also tried to set up Prometheus back then as well. There's QuickSense or QuickSense, provides self-service data analytics and visualization tools, allowing users to create custom dashboards and reports. There's Excel, traditional Excel, suitable for creating simple visualizations like bar charts, line charts, and pie charts, especially for smaller data sets. And then we have Kibana, ideal for visualizing data stored in Elasticsearch, providing powerful search and visualization capabilities. And one more tool, right? Because I like Report Portal as well because it's able to capture the automated tests that are running. And it uses there's a video on this channel about Report Portal as well. Very, very powerful tool that helps you categorize what type of issues that you're having and give you some great dashboards as well. So that's another tool that I think is a really cool, powerful QA visualization and metrics tool as well. All right, so benefits of visualization, right? So enhanced understanding. So visualization makes it easier to understand complex data and identify patterns or trends. Quick insights, another benefit, right? Provides quick insights into key metrics, enabling faster decision making. So important. Like the faster you can get the data to your hands, the faster you can move, the faster you can make better decisions, because you always want to be ahead of your competition, because they will not let up. So it's a competitive market out there, right? Effective communication helps communicate findings and progress effectively to stakeholders, and that communication with stakeholders is so very important. Some more benefits: improved monitoring. Enables continuous monitoring of QA processes and identification of issues in real time. That's another great tool, a great reason, or that's another reason that Report Portal is such a great tool, because of the real-time data visualization and reporting as well. And then another benefit of the visualization is it helps drive data-driven decisions. Say that 3 times fast. Supports data-driven decisions by it supports data-driven decision-making by providing clear and actionable insights. All right, so what are some initiatives for the visualization, right? So automating defect tracking and reporting tools that you could use would be integrating Jira with Jenkins to automatically log defects found during automated testing. So pretty much once Jenkins finds a defect, it would send it to Jira to have that defect created. And then I can just go and look at your defects to see what needs to be done in Jira. So you make it all in one spot. And then the outcome is real-time defect reporting and reduced manual effort in defect logging. So we don't have to write all these long documentation. We can have that created for us from Jenkins. And then we can see, is this valid or not? Do we have to keep it open? I think the same thing can happen with a report portal, where you can say, like, if it finds a defect, you can say, all right, create this Jira ticket. And you can also, and I'm pretty sure in a lot of these tools you can do the same thing, because if you can do it in Jenkins, I'm pretty sure you can do it in City. You can do it in maybe you can do it in GitHub or something like that. So many different, Circle CI probably. So like all these tools, they should have some type of integration that allows you to do this. This for another initiative, right? Implementing predictive analytics. Tools use machine learning platforms like TensorFlow or Azure Machine Learning to build models predicting defect occurrences. So the outcome would be early detection of high-risk areas and proactive quality improvements. So based on these tools, you're able to see what's going to cause problems, and you make the necessary adjustments for that. Another initiative would be enhancing visualization with interactive dashboards. So the tools that you could use: create interactive dashboards in Tableau to visualize test coverage, defect density, and test execution trends. The outcome that would provide would be improved stakeholder engagement and quicker insights into quality status. And that's very, very important. The more information you give your stakeholders, the better it's going to be for them, so that they can have confidence in the work that you and your team are doing. All right, so now, how do we report and communicate this, right? So through dashboards, regular reports, presentations, executive summaries, automated alerts, meetings and stand-ups, documentation, scoreboards, and key performance indexes, infographics, workshops, and training. So all of that stuff is going to be used to be providing reporting and communicating to the whole team, company, organization, whatever. Right. So continuous improvement. You can have regular reviews and updates, automate data collection and reporting, implementing advanced analytics, enhance data visualization, improving data quality, expanding metrics coverage, encouraging a quality culture. That's so, so important. I don't think that this is emphasized enough, to have the whole entire organization be quality minded. And with a good quality mind, then it is going to lead to success everywhere else. All right. Benchmarking and continuous improvement, feedback mechanisms, and integrating development tools. Right. So what are some challenges? What are some challenges to QA metrics? Because this sounds all fine and dandy, but what are the challenges? What holds us back from being able to successfully implementing this? Let's find out. So I'm going to go through the list, right? And then we're going to go through each one of them. Defining relevant metrics. That's going to be a challenge. Knowing what's important, what's not important to an organization. How we're going to be collecting the data and integrating that data. The quality and the accuracy of data. So if you have flaky tests, it's going to be a tough time for you. Tool selection and implementation. One of the biggest things I see always being debated: what tools to use. Do we use Selenium? So we use Cypress? So we use Playwright? Should we use Jira? Should we use Trello? Should we use Linear? Should we use Asana? Should we use Confluence? And then there's always the resistance to change. People like to stay in the way. People don't like change for some reason, right? People don't like change. More challenges, balancing quantitative and qualitative metrics. So balancing the numbers versus balancing the quality of metrics, interpreting and acting on these metrics. So what do we do after we get this data? And then maintaining focus and avoiding metric overload. Like not just getting every single metric and trying to act on everything, figuring out what's important, and evolving evolving project requirements, because project requirements change and trying to keep up. It's okay, now we need to change these metrics for something else. So let's jump into those a little bit deeper. So the challenges for defining relevant metrics. So the challenge is identifying the right metrics that are relevant to the project and providing actionable insights can be difficult. Irrelevant or excessive metrics can overwhelm teams and dilute focus. So what's the solution? You have to involve the stakeholders to find out, okay, what do you guys really care about? Define the SMART criteria. We spoke about that before. Specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, time-based criteria. Those are how like your metrics should be focused on. And then iterative refinement. That means that you continuously look at what metrics that you're considering as relevant and see if that's still the case. And if it's not, then you get rid of it. If it is, you keep it. If you see something else that's relevant, you bring that in. All right. So that would be a solution for defining relevant metrics. Next up, another challenge, data collection and integration. So what is the challenge, right? Collecting accurate and comprehensible data from various sources can be complex. Data silos and inconsistent data formats can hinder effective tracking. So what's the solution for that? Automation tools. You got to automate your data collection and integration, and then integrating those tools and then finding some way to standardize it across like all the data that you're getting. You want to feed it to one source so you can have easy to understand data and you're not running around like a chicken with its head cut off trying to figure this stuff out. Next up, data quality and accuracy. So what's the challenge between data accuracy and for data quality and accuracy, right? Ensuring that accuracy, completeness, and timeliness of data can be challenging. Inaccurate or outdated data can lead to misleading conclusions. Very, very true. Very, very important. Because if you're using the wrong data, then it really doesn't matter. Like let's say you're trying to solve a problem today, but you're using data from 1962. Irrelevant, right? Irrelevant. So what's the solution? Data validation, making sure data is right. Regular audits of the data that you're collecting and the accuracy of it, and then training, making sure that people are capturing the relevant data, how to capture that relevant data, and where to send that relevant data to. Especially if you're defining this for an entire organization, there's many teams in that organization. Very, very important that everybody gets properly and adequately trained. Right. So tool selection and implementation, that is such a battle. I see that all the time. So what's the challenge? Choosing the right tools for tracking and reporting QA metrics can be overwhelming due to the variety of available tools. So many tools, right? So how do you fix that? You need to do a needs assessment, seeing what tool does what and what is it that you're looking to gather. Then you want to do a pilot. You don't want to just jump straight into it, do everything. No, do a pilot testing, do a small sample size, see what happens. And then you see, okay, what's the scalability? As we grow, are we able to grow? Is our tool able to grow as well? So we want to consider that. Now, this one is this is a challenge every team has outside of even QA metrics, just in general, right? Resistance to change. So what is the challenge? Team members may resist adopting new metrics and tools due to a lack of understanding or fear of increased scrutiny. Some people don't like to have metrics because they think that it is to like say, oh, you're doing a bad job. But no, it's for us to make wiser decisions. We should not fear data. So what's the solution, right? Communication, letting them know what it is, training and support, and then making everybody involved. Don't make people feel like they're being singled out, but everyone is involved and everyone gets to participate and figuring out what is the relevant tools, and then we train them, support them, and then we make sure we communicate on a regular basis, constantly. All right. So now the quantitative and the qualitative metrics. How do we balance that, right? So the challenge, over-reliance on quantitative metrics can lead to a narrow focus, while qualitative metrics can be very subjective and harder to measure. What's the solution? You got to balance it out, right? And then you always have to review it on a regular basis to make sure that we're not over relying on one, and the data that we're getting that's qualitative, it's not too subjective, and that it's actually giving us good data. All right. So then interpreting and acting on the metrics. So what's the challenge? Interpreting metrics correctly and taking appropriate actions based on insights can be complex, especially for teams with limited experience in data analysis, right? The solution, you gotta get some expertise in there, and then have clear guidelines, and then you continue to improve. Like the agile principle, you make it work and then you make it better, you make it work, you make it better over and over and over again. Right? So another challenge, focus and avoiding metric overload. The challenge is tracking too many metrics can lead to information overload and distract teams from focusing on the most important critical areas. So how do you fix that? Prioritization, regular reviews, focused reporting. Don't take trash information and give it to everyone. All right. And then we have the evolving project requirements. The challenge is project requirements and priorities can change over time, making it difficult to maintain consistent metric tracking. So the solution for that, flexible framework. Don't be too stringent, right? You have to have an agile approach and make sure you engage the stakeholders, you get their feedback to see as the project changes. You also review the metrics that you're tracking and you say, okay, do you still need this metric? Or do we need this new one? And go from there. So what are some case studies of QA metrics? We have some examples from Microsoft, Google, and LinkedIn. For Microsoft, we're going to be talking about improving software qualities through metrics. For Google, we're going to talk about reducing production defects with automated testing metrics, and LinkedIn, enhancing mobile app quality with QA metrics. So let's get into it. So Microsoft. Microsoft is a leading technology company, it sought to improve the quality of its software products by implementing a comprehensive QA metrics program. So what was their approach? Defect density. Microsoft tracked defect density, the number of defects per 1,000 lines of code, to identify areas with high defect rates. Code coverage. The company measured code coverage to ensure that their automated tests were covering a significant portion of the code base. Now, so also the defect resolution time. They tracked the time taken to resolve defects to identify bottlenecks in the defect resolution process. Customer reported defects. Microsoft monitored defects reported by customers who prioritize issues affecting end users. So what were the results of this? They got early detection. The use of defect density metrics helped identify problematic code areas early, allowing for timely intervention. Because like I said before, the further a bug gets away from development, the more expensive it is. So by being able to catch this early, that saved them a lot of money, and companies love to save money. Improved coverage, increased focus on code coverage led to higher test coverage, resulting in fewer escaped defects, which, like I said, that saves you a lot of money when you catch them early. Also, faster resolution times. By tracking defect resolution time, Microsoft was able to streamline their processes and reduce the time to fix critical issues. Enhanced customer satisfaction was another result. Monitoring customer reported defects enabled Microsoft to address issues that directly impacted users, leading to improved customer satisfaction. So that's a win, all right? Next up, let's talk about Google. Google aimed to reduce the number of defects found in production by enhancing their automated testing practices. And let's find out how did they actually do that. So their approach, test case effectiveness. Google measured the effectiveness of individual test cases by tracking the number of defects each test case detected. They also tracked test suite execution time. They monitored the execution time of their test suites to optimize the testing process and reduce feedback loops. Also, they tracked the flaky test rate. Google tracked the rate of flaky tests that pass and fail intermittently to improve test reliability. And then they also tracked the bug trends. They analyzed bug trends over time to identify patterns and root causes of reoccurring issues. So what were the results of Google's test, right? So higher test quality. By focusing on test case effectiveness, Google was able to improve the quality of their test suites, leading to better defect detection. Optimized testing. Monitoring testing suites executed time allowed Google to optimize their testing pipeline, ensuring faster and more efficient test runs, which means the faster you get the results, the faster you can move on to, to releasing your code to production. If tests take forever to run, because I've heard of some test suites that take like 12 hours to run. I'm like, what in the world are you guys doing? But with Google, with optimizing the testing, analyzing the execution time, can we run these in parallel? Do we have to spread this out on multiple servers so we can get faster feedback? That also allows you to hit the market faster. It gives you more confidence as well. So the results of the reduced flakiness, addressing flaky tests improved the reliability of their automated tests, reducing false positive and negatives. And then proactive bug management, analyzing bug trends helped Google to proactively address underlying issues, reducing the occurrence of production defects, which is absolutely amazing. Great job, Google. Now, let's talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn wanted to improve the quality of their mobile application by implementing a data-driven QA approach. Let's find out how LinkedIn decided to do this. So the approach, they checked the crash rate. LinkedIn tracked the crash rate of their mobile app to identify stability issues. Then they had user feedback analysis. They analyzed user reviews and feedback to understand user-reported issues and prioritize fixes. They also automated test coverage, right? They tracked that. So LinkedIn measured the coverage of their automated that critical app functionalities were thoroughly tested. And then they also looked at the performance metrics. They monitored performance metrics such as app load time and responsiveness to enhance user experience. So what were the results of LinkedIn's initiative? They improved stability. By focusing on crash rates, LinkedIn was able to identify and fix stability issues, resulting in more reliable mobile apps, because I hate when I'm right in the middle of using an app and it just totally crashes on me. I have no idea why. I have to, like, the app that I built, when I first set it up, it was crashing on me like crazy. I had to take off a feature before I went into test mode. But before releasing it to the App Store, I figured out why it was crashing, and now it does not crash anymore. So that is super, super important. And looking at the metrics from the App Stores, I have not seen any reported crashes either, right? So user-centric improvements, analyzing user feedback helped LinkedIn to prioritize fixes that had the most significant impact on user satisfaction. What is making customers not happy? And that's what the number one thing you have to prioritize. And that's what LinkedIn focused on. And to finish up, LinkedIn also did thorough testing, increased automated test coverage, ensured that critical functionalities were well tested, reducing the number of escaped defects and enhanced performance. Monitoring performance metrics allowed LinkedIn to make performance improvements, leading to a better user experience. So shout out to LinkedIn and implementing their QA metrics to get everything done. All right, so that is it. That is it for today. So in total, we spoke about the importance of QA. Right, where we've beat that to death so many times, but now we, over the past 2 weeks, we spoke about the importance of metrics, key metrics for QA, defining the relevant metrics, data collection methods, data analysis techniques, and then we also talked about how to visualize these metrics, how to report them and communicate them to stakeholders and to the team, how to continuously improve, some challenges and solutions that we face when trying to implement QA metrics. We looked at some case studies from Microsoft, Google, and LinkedIn. And lastly, if you have any questions, I will answer them for you. Leave me a comment just leave me a comment on the video, right? And I'll make sure I address it either on a Tuesday night live stream where we do our Q&A night, or I will address it in the comment, or both, whatever the case may be. But I would love to hear from you about this topic of QA metrics, all right? So, and there you have it, folks. That is the conclusion of our QA metrics presentation. I hope that you found that very, very informative and gives you some thoughts on some things that you need to track, especially if you're in QA. If you're new to QA, having these in mind as well. Now, imagine if you are going into an interview and you start dropping information about QA metrics and the type of thing that we should track, and about stakeholder engagement and how to visualize these metrics, and how to, like, what metrics that you believe are relevant and not relevant, stuff like that, and how we can integrate it in CI/CD pipeline. Imagine if you start dropping that type of knowledge, that type of game in an interview. They're going to be like, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. And they're really interested in the success of themselves, the team, and the company. We might have to give this person a chance, right? So think about it. Very, very important stuff. Data and data analytics, data analysis, QA metrics, all that stuff, they all run together. So something that we can definitely be looking into. Maybe we'll try to implement one of these QA metrics, one of these dashboards or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? The night is young. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, do me a big, big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and go over to www.techcoachralph.dev. Sign up for the Patreon membership today so that you can get access to exclusive information and access to live streams, some trainings when I do my office hours, or you can call in, ask me any question that you have, and I can help you out, look at your resume, things like that. And you can sign up for one-on-one coaching as well with me. You can work together with me. Build some experience, get some tutoring, whatever the case may be, whatever you need, that is what I'm here for. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Tech Coach Ralph with another episode of Software Explorations. Hope you enjoyed the QA metrics, and we are out.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.